OJ Simpson in studio with us on the Wild Ass Circus on Live 105.3. Returning to the show, we had him on a couple of months ago, but weren't able to do it in studio. And we still haven't, because of time constraints, still haven't been able to arrange it for you to be in with us live. One of these days we're going to have to do that, because you told me the first time we met, you said, I want to come up to the studio and I want to take calls. So at some point...
I always like live,
Yeah, at some point we'll have to make that happen. But we'll air this unedited, so everybody will still get the full effect. Tell me some of the celebrities. I mean, you were a big celebrity before the trial happened. You had a lot of celebrity friends. Who are some of the guys? Who are some of the guys? Some of the girls that have stuck by you that you're still really close with?
Well, I mean, all of my friends have stuck by me. Other than that, I would say that the flaw in my mother told me, why was I surprised that the people that I helped the most, the people that was always coming to me to borrow money and stuff, they're the ones that abandoned me. All the great guys like Don Omeyer and Wayne Hughes, Al Collins, they all stuck by me. And, of course, every time, I run into athletes, Dickerson, Eric, LT, all of those guys are still as solid of friends as they ever been. When I do the autograph shows, I always take some time in Jersey and spend a little time talking to the Manning boys, Peyton Manning, because their dad was a friend, and I was a big supporter of their fathers. So, other people. I ran into Sylvester Stallone up in Breckenridge, and we were never friends, but we were always gracious. And when we ran into each other, we talked, and he was very, very gracious. Same with Jim Belushi. When I run into the people, they take time to pull me aside and say, "Man, you're hanging in there," And so, for the most part, I can't really remember any real instance where I saw a person that I previously had a casual relationship with that was a celebrity that didn't take time to hang out and give me some encouraging words.
OJ, when we first started this interview, you made mention of the fact the first visit that we did, and that you were surprised that I knew as much as I knew about the case. But I find that any time this case gets discussed on my show, you get discussed on my show, whether you're here or not, people will always find fault with the fact that I tell them, look, I can lay out for you why if I were on that jury I would have found reasonable doubt. They're contentious about it at first, until we really discuss the facts, and it becomes apparent quickly how much the general public didn't really know about the intricacies of the case. So that being said, if you didn't know anything about your case other than the general facts that the media reports or the general theories, would you think you did this?
Of course I would. It didn't surprise me in the least that there are people out there that think I was guilty. Not to the mistake that people make is that it's a general feeling. It's not like the haters who say, oh, he's guilty, he's a murderer. A lot of people will accept the fact that they don't really know. They wouldn't put their life on it. But what they heard, for the most part, they think I'm pretty much guilty. I would say half my friends in Miami that I've gotten in the last 10 years, when they first met me, thought I was guilty. But as they got to know me, as they ask questions, especially the wives, it's always their wives. Then they get to know me, and then they see my kids, and then they'll see some people like Cora Fishman and people who are Nicole's best friends, and it amazes them that they're still real friends with me, and because they thought all of these people abandoned me, right? So when they talk about it, they change their mind, and then they see things like they'll be with me somewhere, and then they'll read a story the next week which will spell out that is complete opposite of what really took place. And they say, this is a lie, this is a lie. Then they begin to understand that the media don't always tell the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I understand it. I in the beginning, I was speaking at colleges, and mostly law schools, and I would take a vote. How many think I'm guilty? How many think I'm in? I would start that at the top, and it would normally be 75%, 80 guilty. And we go through it, and they would have the Elmo with all the court facts that we can instantly put up on the Elmo, out of the computer. And I would ask, why do you think I'm guilty? And then, they would start the Bronco chase, for instance. That would become one of the first things. And in law, flight could be construed as guilt. That's the law. So the prosecutor could tell the jury he tried to run, and in law, that is a sign of guilt. And I have to remind them, and they're shocked to hear that the Bronco alleged chase was never brought up in court. They're shocked when I said they never brought it up in court because they knew they would have to tell the truth. They knew that we had called them, told them where I was. AC had told them where they could pick me up, told them where I was going, and then at that point they got on our tails and followed us back to the house. But that was a case that the perception was better than the facts. See, for them, it was already out there. People thought I was trying to run, and they wanted to keep that in the juror's mind.
This has been the second time that OJ Simpson and I visited on the air. The first interview, and I want to mention this again because I know there's people that are hearing this, didn't hear the first one, and they're wondering why, as much as I've talked about the facts of this case over the years, certain questions we didn't ask this time. That's because a lot of them were asked the first time. You can go to our website here, and you spent 30-plus minutes with us, I think, that night talking about that. You can hear that, and this has been a second installment. But, if you're open to it, OJ, at some point down the line, I'd like for this not to be the last. Have you back on. You've got an open invitation.
I've always enjoyed the interviews. You've always been straightforward, and as I said, I've never had a problem with if anybody is not trying to taint with the interview. If they just ask me questions out of pure curiosity, I'm more than willing to answer. I've never ever done an interview where I had to look at the questions first and ask them, don't ask me this.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of times they were trying to put debates together with me and Marcia Clark or me and Mark Furman, and in both instances they want to see the questions. They wanted certain subjects not to come out. That's never been the case with me.
And not the way we do interviews here. So thanks for the time, OJ,
Thank you,
we'll catch up with you at some point in the future. All right, man. Thank you so much.
Richard, God bless.
That's been OJ Simpson on the Wild Ass Circus on Live 105.3.